Thank you. Think of a place you love to spend time. It might be your favourite holiday spot, the neighbourhood where you grew up, or your local main street. These places we love and feel connected to have distinctive personalities. They're memorable. Now, I became a city planner nearly over 15 years ago to make places for people, to make places like this. But I discovered very early in my career, when I was poring away over AutoCAD software and up to my eyeballs in planning documents, that the reality of city making is not very much about people and much more about policy and rules and setbacks and traffic speeds. And I became frustrated with how hard it is to find information about what's going on in local neighbourhoods. If these places are the things that we love the most, the experience of the neighbourhood is what's most important to us, surely we can measure it, right? In fact, no. Through my career, I've become frustrated by how city planners rely on government data sets, which are often outdated before they're even released, on town hall meetings, which often nobody goes to, and on surveys and online feedback forms, which are often taken over by trolls. But it doesn't need to be this hard. We're living in a digital revolution where so many aspects of our lives touch the online world. In the few seconds since I've started this talk, there have been over 32 million Google searches taken place worldwide, many of which would have been on any of the 4 billion internet-enabled smartphones we have across the world. There are more mobile phones across the planet than there are toothbrushes. In Australia alone, we have 3 million more active Facebook users, that's active Facebook users, than people enrolled to vote. So you tell me what is a better place to find out what's going on in people's lives and what people love and what they value. Have you ever thought about the power of your post? These days we talk about our wine bars, our dog parks, our street art and our brunches. But every time we like, review, check in and post, we're creating a digital footprint, a digital twin of our cities. The experience of our city is digitised into this online world. And this is a real-time, nuanced insight into what's happening in local neighbourhoods. I believe that city planners need to use this information to make better cities, and that's why we started Neighbourlytics. Neighbourlytics provides social data for neighbourhoods, aggregating over 15 different geotagged real-time data sources to understand what's happening in local neighbourhoods. This is unprecedented data about what's happening in local places to help city makers, town planners, property developers understand the places that people love, the level of activities in local neighbourhoods, the events that they go to, and the stories and the way that they talk about their lives. We package this up as data, which is low cost, highly replicable, and real-time insight into what's happening in local neighbourhoods. We're working with Impact Investment Group across Australia who wanted to understand the ecosystem of the great precincts in the great global cities. Previously, they would have had to hire consultants to download government data sets from all different cities across the world and spend weeks and weeks trying to clean it and match it together to really understand what's happening in cities across the world. In only a matter of hours, we can collect data anywhere in the world and immediately tell them what the local economy, what the local innovation ecosystem, what the local home business ecosystem looks like in these cities to help inform their portfolio management, but also to acquire new sites. We've been working with the Greater Sydney Commission across Sydney to understand the social health and social connectedness of Sydney. Very, very quickly, we can collect data across all of the major activity centres across Sydney, and we did this in a couple of weeks earlier this year to understand what local assets the neighbourhoods have and where the gaps are that the infrastructure needs to be provided. We can look at it at a citywide level across the whole of Greater Sydney or drill right down to neighbourhood by neighbourhood. We know that a great neighbourhood and a socially connected neighbourhood has lots of healthcare, lots of sports and recreation, lots of arts opportunities, a great nighttime economy. Our data can show that at the click of a button. We've also worked with Lend-Lease in the creation of their new communities across Australia where they want to understand very quickly what the identity, the shared identity of local neighbourhoods are. That's really important when they're creating new communities, that they work with the existing assets and stakeholders within a local neighbourhood environment region to really deliver the services that are most needed for that community. Beyond just what's there in the neighbourhood, we can very quickly analyse the social chatter, the things that people choose to photograph in a neighbourhood. And where we see consistency in these, we can very quickly see that in this area in Redlands outside Brisbane, there's a really consistent theme of family, which is unusual because most people talk about their dogs, but in this neighbourhood it's all about family. But similarly, businesses are really, really common in this part of the world. And so to look at it from the outside, it'd be easy to think it's just a residential community, there's not much of a business economy there. The social chatter tells a different story, and this is the kind of insight we can provide with our data. We've now created data for over 250 sites across Australia in the last 6 months, and we've realised that we've been working with some great clients to do descriptive analytics of what's happening in neighbourhoods, but we can take this to the next level. We're opening a seed investment round in the next couple of weeks where we'll be taking on investment so that we can move to a diagnostic and predictive analytics to look at what would happen as the cities keep changing and how we should be including the most relevant infrastructure for them. And we're also launching the Social Cities Benchmarking Project next week. If you're interested, we'd love to speak to you more about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.